We the people.
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 We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all
are created equal,
endowed with certain unalienable rights,
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness,
in order to form a more perfect union
and secure the blessings of liberty.
Congress shall make no law
abridging the freedom of speech or of the press
or the right of the people peaceably to assemble
and to petition the government
for a redress of grievances.
Let facts be submitted to a candid world.
My name is Rodwin. I'm 14.
Good evening, and welcome to the People's Platform. I'm Antonio Celesta, the founder and director of the Academy of African American Fathers. Tonight's program deals with fatherhood. As most of us are thinking these days during the upcoming Father's Day events, parents are on people's mind. Parenting issues are on people's minds. I tend tonight to gather your attention and get your attention about cultural parenting, a very important topic that deals with parenting and fathering, as we say, fathers in the hood. Like other fathers, we face certain circumstances and problems, yet in other circumstances, we are unique in a specific way. And I say that to say this, that when it comes to African American fathers and black fathers, we have our issues cut out for us. We have our work cut out for us. So tonight, I want to engage you into some information about the Academy, some little history on the background of the Academy of African American Fathers located here in Boston, and some of the issues and challenges that we have as black parents. The first thing I want to do is tell you about the program. The Academy of African American Fathers was founded by myself in 1998. It was out of a brainstorm and through some challenges myself as being a father, that coming up in Roxbury and being the oldest of 4 brothers and living in a single-parent family myself. My mother and father separated when I was about 11 years old, and I had the mantle passed to me. I became what we call now the man of the house. Being the oldest of 4 brothers and having that responsibility, I actually took on fathering responsibilities at a very young age. At 11 years old, I was changing diapers, I was feeding, and taking care of my siblings as a sit-in. My father was around, but we had to deal with the home issues ourselves. My mother gave me that responsibility, and I resented that responsibility for a lot of years, until later on when I got to have my own children. And I said, you know something, Ma, thank you, because I learned a lot of being a father and how to take care of children at an early age, and I was able to take care of my own children. So as my children got older, I ran into a challenge where I had to step up and be a man and take the responsibility of my own children. It involved the Department of Social Services getting involved in asking me to take responsibility of my children, which I had done. This is the kind of thing where people are doing things, but it's not on paper. I was there for my children. I did not live with the mother, but I was there providing both support, moral and financial support. Of course, that wasn't on record. One of the problems that I faced was, how do I prove that to the court that is about to take my children from me? Make the long story short, I ended up getting developing this program, and I met other fathers who were similarly situated as myself, faced with these particular kind of challenges, wanting to take responsibility, wanting to step up, wanting to be fathers, but one of the issues that they had that I did not have, that they did not know how to. A lot of them came from single parents, families myself, but they didn't take on some of the responsibilities I did. So in developing this program, I took that at heart. I wanted to do something, make a change. So I developed the Academy of African American Fathers. Now, when we talk about the Academy of African American Fathers, the first thing people talk about that because it's an all black or African American fathers program. Now, these have its challenges in itself. Even historically, black programs would always be challenged based on the fact that they were just being all black. They were called racist programs. They were called separate programs. And they also would throw these things as, you know, first you want to be integrated, now you want to be separated. The only thing I have about that is fatherhood is very different than any kind of education that you could ever have. Parenting is a cultural matter. It is a personal matter. It is the legacy of the culture. Your legacy is found in your family life. So therefore, you have to be separated for that program. Now, let's get to the point. The issues that we challenge with today are contemporary issues. This is not the kind of issues that we had when our parents were growing up. Children today seem to be lost it in plain English. We have a lot of different issues. They're very, very complex, and no one seems to want to challenge those issues. Some of our own don't even want to challenge those issues. So this is the reason why I brought this program out. The program that I'm talking about is the African American Academy of Fathers. It is what it is, an academy. It is a training center. What we did is develop a curriculum which deals directly with the self of the individual, the actualization. In a sense, we don't even deal with father issues. We deal with the whole person, as a human being, and as a man. If you remember, back in the 70s, right after the Vietnam War, we had a lot of war people, brothers who were in the Vietnam conflict, who had war experiences. Because they had those war experiences, the federal government after the war was wondering whether or not that they would take those war experiences to the streets and join groups like the Mau Mau's and the Black Panthers. So they came up with the Intel Pro organization to help decide what they want to do with these particular black men who had served Vietnam and also may end up in one of these organizations like the Black Panthers and the Mau Mau's. Now, how does that relate to fathering? Well, we have fathers who went to Vietnam. We have fathers who were absent. Then sometime along that line, the welfare system was introduced. In that policy of the welfare system, there was a policy of the no man in the home rule, which meant that if you had a man in the home at that time, you were denied assistance. So most black women who wanted to, of course, provide for their children, they had to make a decision. Either I get the assistance, which was more dependable than some of the black men at the time because of the civil rights struggle coming off the Vietnam conflict, or have this man provide these services for my children, the moral support, the financial support. Of course, they chose the welfare system. Some. For the most part, they chose to disband the meaning of what we call family. Family has always been a two-parent family, a male and a female, a woman and a man. That has always been our concept. That's the legacy of black fathering and black mothering, that is family. It wasn't until these systems were introduced into the American culture and into our houses and our homes that it disbanded our family. Coupled with that, the women's rights groups started coming out with concepts about women can work outside of the household and so on and so forth. So these social changes took effect, and black people felt that. We felt that, yes, we want our women to get out and do rights and be able to exercise their right to be what they wanted to be. In fact, some of my family are historically known for breaking some of those barriers, being the first African-American female detectives and stuff like that right here in Boston. So I've had first experience with that, and I have first experience with the busing desegregation, where a lot of fathers who are fathers today weren't able to go to school because of the busing situation and the racism that was here in Boston. So we have all these issues coupled together, and then we have today's fathers. We have fathers who were the product of those individuals during that time, who did not have fathers for positive role models that they can mimic against, that someone that they can copy and say, you know, I want to be like that person. Our role models were basketball players, football players, drug dealers on the corner, and those who seemed to be doing so well when we was doing so bad. The thing about that is that we need to project more positive fathering images, and we lacked that at that time. Every image that was about fathering had to do negative. They said they were no good, no beat, unemployed, unemployable, broke. I didn't call them deadbeat dads. I call them dead broke dads. Yes, they were unemployable, and yes, they were unemployed. The economics caused that situation to happen. Now, I'm not saying or making excuses for fathers. There are fathers out there who are economically able to take care of their children and just haven't stepped up to the plate. But it goes back to what I said earlier. You have to know how to be a father in order to take care of children. The mere meaning of father simply means to foster care. If you don't know how to foster care, or if no one has never foster care to you, then you cannot foster care to someone else. So I came up with this program. And when I came up with the Academy of African American Fathers, I had emails from all over the place, some all over the world, talking about discriminating, that I was discriminating by making this program, that I was not addressing the fatherhood issues. The clear picture is simply this. Fatherhood is cultural. Therefore, it has to deal with us in our culture, not no one else's. No one can tell me, nor would I allow anyone to tell me how to raise my children outside of my culture, because it's my culture. I don't need government or anyone else to tell me how to raise my children. However, we can learn from each other about things that happen, such as there are things in common, such as the Child Enforcement Act. It certainly applies to everyone, regardless of your color. But your ability to pay is different based on your economic factor, based on your social factors, and your status. So those are points right there. My program deals with low and no income fathers, not celebrity fathers. There was a magazine, the Ebony magazine, our very own, that since June is coming up, that magazine published a thing about dads changing. Well, these dads should change because they can afford to change. These dads are the celebrity fathers who are making the big bucks and can afford to take care of their children. Not like a segment a few years ago when we had a football player, Ray Caruth, who murdered a black woman, the mother of his child, because he refused to pay child support. This was what they tried him and convicted for. He's doing a life bid now, and natural life bid for that crime. I was saddened by that because I could not, at the time I was living in South Carolina, and I couldn't even walk up the street and hold my head up and feel any pride of being a black man where I have another black man constantly on television, worse than OJ case, portraying him as a no-good black man who did not want to take care of his children, so he murdered the mother. It was sad. It was very sad. So these are the kind of incidents that are highlighted. What is not highlighted is the positive fathers, the people who are out there on the front lines taking care of their children, those who are motivated to take care of their children yet don't have the means or the ways. Those who step up to the plate at the courthouses during family disputes and say, I want to take my children, they look at them and say, well, you haven't had a job in 5 years. How are you going to take care of children? Those who step up to that same plate with the Department of Social Services and challenge their legal depositions on how they are fathers and whether they're unfit or not, and they get denied. They get denied their children. Their children are then either in DSS custody somewhere or in some other strange house where they grow up and most likely being some kind of physically, mentally, and sexually abused. This is facts. This is facts. This is not conjured or anything. This is facts. So when I met these individuals and I felt in that same situation, I felt like I was going to do something about that. I said, you know something? I'm going to step up and take care of my son, and I'm going to show that I can even do better than what I was doing. And I noticed that when I went to go change that situation and find help, there was none. All of the programs, parenting programs, were female geared. There were no housings that had men who take their children and live in a housing situation until they get permanent housing like they do for females. All the parenting programs were female geared. It wasn't until the President Bush, W. Bush, signed the Fatherhood Initiative Program, a bill, adding more funds to that effort. And he only did that because in order for you to have someone to take responsibility, you have to have them some kind of means other than the courts, which is less expensive, other than the courts to enforce fathering policies, to force their means, to force their ways. We come up with the Fatherhood Initiative. Mostly around the country, all states are required to have a Fatherhood Initiative program in place for those who come through the court system who are behind armed so-called deadbeat dads, or those who are considered not competent to be fathers. These programs have been popping up all over the country, ran by all kinds of people. Yes, men and women. Yes, I said it, women. Women are running these programs, fatherhood programs. Now, I have an issue with that. The issue I have with that is that if we accept the fact that a household is a male and a female, which creates balance, particularly for men,